Because there's a weird lag.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag. So we're going to go live to the audience here.
Oh, Julie's got the good hair today, too.
Thank you.
Okay, counting you in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Sean. We'd like to welcome you all this evening. I'm Joanne Graziano. I'm the executive director of the Boston Women's Film Festival, and we're here having a conversation with our artists who were chosen for the Shorts program. And Catherine Irving, unfortunately, can't be with us tonight because of a medical emergency at home, but we are here to talk with our Shorts artists this evening. If you happen to be joining us and want to join the Zoom room, you can actually the link is listed on the live stream page. So if you'd like to join the room, or if you'd like to ask questions through the live stream, you can do that as well, either way. So I'm going to turn it over to James Nadeau because of his art background, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to ask some great questions of our artists.
Now the pressure's on. Hey, everyone, I am James Nadeau. Joanne and I are the founders of this festival, well, the reimagining of the festival as it existed many years ago and ended in 2003. So this is the new Boston Women's Film Festival. This is our 3rd year, and we're so happy to have 2 filmmakers here, Julie with her film Rotary and Hannah with her film Cave Dream. So welcome the 2 of you for being here. And Sarah is also part of our team. So if you admire our social media, Sarah and Emily, who's not here, but they're the social media gurus for us and the festival. And and obviously Sarah and Joanne jump in, but I want to sort of kick us off. Maybe Julie, again, your film is so strikingly visually amazing, and I just loved the aesthetic of it. Do you want to talk a little bit about the project and sort of?
Sure thing. Yeah. So I just graduated from Mass Art, and this was my thesis film for my BFA, and I grew up in a house full of antiques, and my dad and I share a lot of artistic aesthetics together. So I've always had like rotary phones and stuff in my house, and I always thought they were really cool and heavy, and I liked the feel of them. And then I remember my junior year always being so busy all the time, and like I would joke that like, oh, instead of animation, I wish I majored in talking and spending time with my friends. And because that's what I was like, oh, I miss that. And I feel like that was also at the point in my life where I'm like, the most fulfilling thing to me right now is like, because like in college, towards the end of junior year and stuff, people are talking about like moving from Boston to LA and where everybody goes for their own animation career. And I was thinking like, as long as I'm spending good quality time with my friends and family, that's what makes me the happiest. And that's where I will go in all that stuff. So I had a dream where the monks came to me in a dream, and I immediately woke up and drew them out and then went back to bed. And they just kind of stuck with me. And I designed my film as a vignetted film because I was very worried about not finishing it. So I wanted to put in vignettes that I could swap out and rearrange, cut, and make new ones. So the style of my film really was integral with me finishing it, especially when COVID happened, because it was right in the middle of my animation process. Oof. So that was really helpful to be able to cut things and add things and rearrange everything. And a lot of them came from small ideas or sketches. I'm really into historical fashion, so I wanted to have some sort of silent film flapper situation. And the Byzantine king came from a drawing I was doing in thesis class one day, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want him in my film. And then the lobster phone was definitely some Dali art history things, thinking about because my film's kind of, sorry, I'm rambling a little, but my film's kind of about how we conversate in drastically different ways. So like the silent film actress is like being frustrated that you can't convey your emotions when you're really upset. And then the lobster phone is about breaking down flirting to its most raw form into its most practical, like if you were to explain decoding flirtation to an alien and using the lobster phone as a vessel of a relationship in romantic and sexual way. And I don't even know my own film's order. What? And then the wall phone is about how some people have mouths but not ears, and ears but not mouths. So some people are stuck in relationships where they hear others talk all the time. And then my hair is because I had to get my gallbladder out in emergency surgery. So it's about listening to your body and trying to form a line of communication between your body and your health and your mind and everything. And then the Byzantine king, he's a Karen. He demands things and won't be satisfied and throws a tantrum until he gets what he wants. So that's kind of like a rambled display of, I did this.
Well,
I finished it on time.
I admire you that I went to the museum school, so it's right next door to Mass Art, and I was an animation major for 1 year and then ran away from it because it is the most tedious, like meticulous kind of work. So I definitely have admiration for people who do animation. So that's so yeah, for sure. And Hannah, do you want to jump in and sort of talk about your project? Because I know Hannah's is also animation. You guys haven't seen each other's films, but Hannah is also animated. But completely sort of aesthetically different from yours. So Hannah, do you want to talk about yours for a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I probably won't talk that much because I'm like really bad at explaining. But yeah, when I was making my film, so mine was also my thesis film, and around then I was thinking a lot about, I was like graduating, thinking about working and stuff, and I was thinking a lot about like the cycle of kind of working to survive and surviving to work. And yeah, I was thinking about like alienation from capitalism and things like that. And so I was like, how do I like to make works about things that like don't make sense to me or confuse me. And so I was like, how do I make this into a story that people can digest? And so I kind of made like a foil for the elements in the story, with the cave being like this oppressive system that the character is working in, and the fruit that he's caring for and is forced to like eat at the end is like his livelihood. And I just kind of like played out those relationships.
Did you expect people to be sad when he eats the fruit?
To be sad. I thought about that a lot. I was like, I don't want it to be some like cliche moment where
No, it's definitely not cliched at all. I mean, no, I mean, James and I at MIT, no, absolutely not. It's not cliched at all.
okay, I'm glad.
There's nothing about cliched about your film at all. I'm going to tell you right now, if Catherine Irving was here, she'd tell you, both of you, that she's not someone who selects films that are cliched. If they're cliched, they don't make it into our lineup. Okay, so that.
We actually had a joke about creating a program that was just chock full of cliched shorts. I was like, it's the best of the cliche. And so yeah, no, you guys definitely both steered clear. And I liked that there, and I feel like, and maybe we can talk about this too a little bit, in that does working in animation actually give you a better way to think metaphorically, in that, Sarah's also a filmmaker. And so when you're working narratively and with like real people, actors, there's only so much, like you sort of have to rely on this actor to convey your kind of emotional metaphoric meaning. And we'll start with maybe with Julie first. Do you want to sort of talk about it? Does animation give you a bit more freedom to kind of to play with these concepts?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely a high school actor turned animator kind of route that seems to be pretty common. So it's just like, I really like animation and specifically stop motion because you can build something that doesn't look like yourself and you can make it have a different life. Things that your body has limits to, animation does not. And yeah, especially with puppetry, you can just get so much emotion from the textures and the weight and the general performance of it. It just, I feel like it extends narrative storytelling a little bit for me because of the idea that it can just be anything. if that makes any sense.
A lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Hannah, the same question for you.
Yeah, I think Julie explained it really well. Yeah, I feel like with animation, like there's no limits. And not only that, like I feel like I personally relate to animation more. Like I relate to animated characters more because it's like, I'll explain it. When it's like an actor, I don't know how to explain it.
I think what you mean is like when it's an actor, you're directing the actor, but it's not the directors kind of can get what their vision out of an actor, but it's not the same as when you're putting your vision down on that paper, you know,
Yeah.
or you know, on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with the there's an anime filmmaker named Satoshi Kon. He did a film called Paprika, and but he always talked about why he never went to live action, because he just felt that he could be much more emotionally connected to the drawing than the animated. He said he was like, there's this emotional distance between the director and the actor, and this reliance on the actor to do your work for you. And he was like, I don't have that because I'm drawing my actor, like I'm making it. And therefore it can be whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you both. So your art styles were both so inviting and interesting and so colorful. What inspired you to go that way? And I know Julie, you talked about growing up with like antiques all around you, but like for your film in specific, like you had like a bunch of different art styles as well. So like what inspired you to like incorporate those? And for Hannah, like what made you land on that specific look? Whoever wants to jump in first, go ahead.
Yeah. So definitely one of my biggest inspirations is definitely fashion history and vintage ephemera. I just gobble that stuff up. And I've been working on trying to unite my my drawing style and my animation style together, because how I draw is more like the Byzantine King, which is very inspired by like early 2000s Flash animated shows. But my stop motion style is very animated by like Jan Svankmajer and the Brothers Quay and stuff like that. So I've been trying to bring those two worlds together. And also like I said, like I really like Jan Svankmajer, and Dimensions of Dialogues was definitely a huge inspiration for my film. So I'm like, oh, I need to have some sort of pixelation going on. And I love talking about storytelling through animation. I definitely think pixelation brings it also into the world, because like you think about how like where people do plays of like Peter Pan and stuff, and they're flying and they are attached to wires and stuff. But in pixelation, you can literally try to fly and like run around and do things that your body can't normally do. So yeah, I think definitely incorporating those inspirations to kind of meld into the style, and kind of like, again, with vintage ephemera, like big graphic blocky stuff is also inspiring for me from like the 50s and 60s, like graphic design. So like I feel like that kind of brings it into my monks. And like I really like the film, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the filmmaker's name, but the film Adagio with the paper cranes was also a big inspiration for my monks also. So kind of bringing those all together, being like, these are the things I like, I hope you like them too.
Yeah, I thought they worked really well together.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for Hannah, what inspired your art style?
I feel like my art style is kind of just like a mesh of like all the, indie filmmakers I've been watching. I think a huge influence is I really like Eric Carle, who's like a picture book illustrator. I
love him. Yeah, I am. Yeah,
I love like the textures and like the graphic shapes, and I feel like my style is pretty simple, and I feel like I might get that from like one of my favorite filmmakers is Don Hertzfeldt, and I feel like his works, his style-wise, his works are very simple. like borderline like stick figures, but they say so much. So yeah.
Thank you.
I'm stumped for a question. I gotta someone else ask a question while I think of the next one. I guess maybe talk. Go ahead, Joanne.
A specific question about the monks and
Yes.
decision to make the monks this I now that you've mentioned the thing about the paper cranes, it makes sense, but to just make these, you know, the black, you know, kind of the things that we have to realize are monks as your audience. I thought that was inspired and quite interesting. And where did I now I know where the monks came from, but I wanted to ask you, because when I first heard it, I was like, there are cardboards just walking across the, and I was like, no, of course not, they're monks. And what made you decide to kind of make communication and the kind of the idea of the kind of communicating the kind of the center point of the loci of your film?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the monks came to me in a dream, and how they walked was like this sandwich board caterpillar motion. And I'm like, that'd be really good for a puppet to walk that way. And like, just like, like no tie downs, no. And so I thought that'd be a fun way to get the character to walk. And I'm like, they're kind of, because they were black and white, so I'm like, they're kind of like these cloaked figures. So maybe if I have like a group of them, they could have like some sort of religious assemblance or like work in unity. And I started to think like, well, if I want phones to be a part of my thesis, maybe part of their religion is the telephone. And then it kind of spiraled into, they are the operators that connect the calls in my film together. So their religion is our communication and our relationships and connecting us all together through these very different worlds. Yeah, I think that does it answer the question?
Yeah, it does. So I have another question too, and that is, I want to ask both of you about because you're very different animators, about your process as an artist. You know, how do you, especially in these works, how did you set out to do that? And I'm going to go to Hannah first, because I want to ask you about your process, because your work is so very beautiful. And, you know, do you sketch? And I'm a writer, so I can ask you that. But so what is your process like? And, you know, how much, what did it take to make the film itself? I know Catherine would have been asking that question.
Thank you. So yeah, my process is like, I start with the story. I definitely sketch. I think the characters, finding out what the characters look like are important to me. And then designing just the world, and then basically just animating, which is like so tedious. It's my least favorite part. Yeah, I hate animating. Like the act of doing it, I just think it's like a way to tell the story that I want to tell. And then the animating is something you just kind of have to go through, like block out all the motions. And I'm sure it's different for like motion graphics, like type animators, but for me, who's like, my main purpose for animating is telling a story. It's hard to get through. Yeah.
Julie, your process.
My process was a little wacky. I think I was one of the only people in my class doing stop motion. And I had an excellent professor, Haley Morris. She's wonderful. And so she kind of encouraged me to do something really scary, which I did not have any animatic for my film at all. And I went straight from Pinterest board inspiring what I want to test animation with test puppets. And I kind of just kept doing test animations until I refined it and like taking down notes and critique and trying to meld it into the final product. I did do one 2D animatic for the opening part of my film, but like immediately, like I think I only got like 20 seconds of it. I'm like, I don't like doing this. I'm just gonna, yeah. So a lot of it was very like, because I think way too much. and I just get over it by doing and not thinking, and just trying to see what my brain kind of plops out into animation. And yeah, so and I feel like that's the way I worked best, is just like creating full test animation instead of worrying about animatics and stuff. So yeah, my process was pretty crazy like that. It was very hard to pull things together neatly for critique.
Just out of curiosity, how long did it take both of you to, like, from the start of like the idea in your head to the end result? How long did that take you? Oh.
It took me basically a year. I dedicated like half of the year to getting the idea and the story down, and then the rest of the half and designing the world and the character, and then the rest of the half was really just the animating.
I have to say your world is really magical. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Julie, how long?
Yeah, mine took 10 months. It was from August to May. I think that's 10 months. Yeah. It was 10 months, give or take. It started definitely with sketches in August, got to school, mood boards, Pinterest. A lot of research went into my film, so that was a lot of my fall semester. Was research, test animation, fabrication. And then I started animating like I think the second week of January. And then it was just all the way up to the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So we have about 5 minutes. So I'm curious, like as you both have just graduated, are you looking at the start of your film festival route? And are we like the first stop on your journey with your films, which is awesome. I'm just curious for both of you, looking forward, you guys have other festivals on the horizon or other projects? I mean, everybody has another project, right? Who wants to go first? We'll go with Julie. You want to go first?
Okay. Yeah, this is my second festival that my thesis has gotten into. I was part of the JP Kids Arts Tandem Biking Festival last month. And then I have coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm part of Big Cartoon Fest in Moscow, Russia.
Wow.
So that's going to be fun. And I just bought a camera last night. So I'll finally be able to start animating at home again and
Congrats.
getting back into that and take a break from my retail job.
That's huge. That's important. And Hannah, how about your path?
Oh yeah, so for me, so I was entered through this festival because I got into this festival called Short of the Year by PromoFest.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then for me, I was like, hopefully this film will take off and I'll get into like Sundance and all this, and then I can really pursue this like film festival route. But clearly that didn't happen. And so I feel like for now I'm gonna take a pause on like making films and kind of try to go into the animation industry as like a visual development artist. But definitely like towards the middle or end of my career, I definitely want to return back to like independent filmmaking.
Yeah. Well, we encourage. Go ahead, Joanne.
I was going to say your film actually made. Catherine and I saw a film at Sundance that we brought to this animation world last year, and your film reminded me very much of that film, but only with a very different world. Really beautiful, really beautiful. Both films fantastic, really wonderful. Hannah, don't give up. We both have real talent, and that's why you're here. And we're delighted that you're in our program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Back to you.
Oh, yeah, no, that's like a perfect way to sort of wrap it up. So thank you all for being here. And I highly encourage, I've been part of the film festival world for almost 20 years at this point. And It can be a tough, as I tell my students, it can be a tough road to hew, but when you hit the mark, when you hit the spot, it's really, I mean, we've been doing these, Sean, who is our tech for this, we do another film festival, which is about LGBTQ films. And in this time of COVID isolation, it's really nice to have sort of filmmakers and let you guys connect and sort of talk about your work, because we all feel a bit isolated nowadays. So I appreciate you guys jumping on and talking about your work, because it's from, you know, we see so much stuff and we don't get to go behind, you know, like the making and the whys and the hows. We just sort of, we take your film because it's lovely and we want it to be in the festival. So it's really nice to hear, you know, your process. And, you know, I mean, I wish you well, and I think you know, keep making the work. I think it's worth people seeing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much.
Any final thoughts, you guys? Sarah, you got any last minute, or we can wrap it up? We have 2 minutes.
Nothing really, just again, praise for both of your films. They were so beautiful and like so much fun to watch as well.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you so much.
alrighty. Well, Sean, should we wrap this up and we'll say goodnight to everybody? Thank you all for being here. And I hope you guys should.
Festival? James, sorry.
Oh no, I didn't hear you. Go ahead, Joanne.
I said, you know, come to the other parts of the festival. We hope to see you there, and maybe come on our last night. We'll be having a Zoom party. Come and pop in.
Yeah, and definitely
Sounds
watch the other
good.
shorts in your program. Definitely, because you get sort of to see the world of where your film resides. It's really fun to sort of follow the path. So hopefully you guys will take a chance to take some time to watch it. All right, everybody.
Awesome stuff.
Counting out.
We're done. Are you
Yeah.
gonna count